You come home from a lecture and you're excited. You just learned the most amazing parenting strategies that are going to change your challenging child and transform him into the most amazing kid. You know you're confident, yet your husband doesn't want to hear about it. You do everything right for your kids, yet all of them are different. Why? Who's to blame for the failures in a child? Who's to be given credit for their success? Rabbitin Yemima Mizrahi teaches us in Parshat Toldot, in her book, Yemima Mizrahi Speaks, what to truly give a child. What do they ultimately crave? Who is to blame and who's to give credit to the child's failure and success? We read that Rivka loved Yaakov. Rab Shamshon Raphael Hirsch writes that perhaps Esav had sensed that Rivka loved Yaakov, and this in turn made him feel unloved, unwanted. A child wants to be loved and attended to and given care and wanting to be connecting to a parent. The very first need a child craves. Despite their small size, every single baby is born yelling, screaming on top of their tiny, tiny little lungs. Why? They want to be acknowledged. Every single child wants to feel like a somebody. If we as parents don't give our children time, love, attention, a listening ear, eye contact when they're talking, not yeah, I hear you, real attention, and I know it's hard. And I know life is busy. But if you're doing that, you're fulfilling their needs. They want to feel like a somebody. If we don't give our children this attention, love, and care, they're going to get it from somewhere else. We learn from Yitzhak, our forefather, that a parent must use all their senses to give their child everything that they need. When Rivka clothed Yaakov in Esav's clothes, Yaakov immediately reacted by saying, "Perhaps my father will feel me." And this is exactly what happened. As soon as Yaakov entered his father's chamber, Yitzhak said to him, "Come close, if you please, so I can feel you, my son." When Yitzhak said, "This voice is Yaakov's voice," he again bonded with Yaakov through his sense of hearing. So we have touch, we have hearing, now we have taste. Yitzhak ate the foods Yaakov brought to him, and he said, "Serve me and let me eat of my son's game." He wanted to acknowledge the hard work that was done and the food that was cooked. He wanted to taste the food. Smell. "Come close, if you please, and kiss me, my son." And later it says, he smelled the fragrance of his clothes. He smelled his son. He hugged his son. He tasted the food. He looked at his son in a way where, yes, he was blind, and yes, he couldn't really see that Esav is not there. It's really Yaakov. However, he wanted to see. For Yitzhak, parenting was clearly a multi-sensory experience. You know, as parents and educators, we are told by our principals, administrators, that in order for us to teach a profound lesson, where we can capture the needs of every single student, we need to use multi-sensory teaching, where the children see, taste, touch, smell, and feel, and they need to experience learning through all different types of senses. Now, this is what's catchy nowadays. However, it's very important in parenting as well. When a child does not receive a listening ear at home, he will manage to find someone who's willing to listen to him. He will find other sources. Now, we don't want that. When a girl does not feel that she's loved at home, is not hugged, and is not kissed, unfortunately, she will find other sources to give her that loving physical touch she's sorely lacking. As Jewish mothers, we are always out and about. We are always doing something. We're in a flurry, we're in a frenzy, we're all busy. Yes, but please remember, your child doesn't need your elaborate dinners and doesn't need the latest gadget. They need our time, our attention, our smiling face, our embrace. Quality time. Now, if you want your child to feel like a somebody, there is nobody in the world who can make them feel that way except you. As much as we hear our children say, I wish I could do whatever I want, and they think they're the boss. And it's annoying to us because we're like, you don't know what you want, you don't know what's best for you. Pedagogues have done research that children actually crave structure. If they're not given structure, they're not being fulfilled and they're not wholesome. They're not given what they need. I believe that the reason it is difficult for us to understand the importance of spending time with our kids, giving them love and attention, is because they need it more than we do. We do so much for our kids that we just naturally love them. If they mess up, if they're rebellious, what happens? We still love them. We gave them so much. But our children need that love. They need to feel this closeness because if they don't feel this closeness, they're not giving the most important thing that we can give them. And now I'm going to share with you what that is, and that is to bless your child. The last interaction that we learn from Yitzhak and Yaakov between them is that Yitzhak blessed Yaakov. As our children grow older and become more independent, they're not always there. They grow up. When they're little, we know who they're with. They have play dates, play groups, they're in daycare. We know what they're doing and who they're with and what activity they're engaged in. But as they grow older, we realize that they're becoming more independent. And actually, that's one of the greatest gifts you can give your child, the greatest kindness. And what happens is we become worried. Where are they? What are they doing? The biggest blessing you can give to your child is to bless them. Bless them. How do we bless them? They're not there. We bless them by giving them prayers. As Jewish people, we have a tradition where we bless our children Friday night. We bless our children, our boys and our girls. You don't just have to do that on Friday. Blessing your children means giving them positive words, giving them feedback, looking at them, complimenting them. Yes, our children also need criticism, but it depends how you criticize. If our children feel attacked, blamed, and told, go to bed, and they feel like they're unloved, they feel like you don't want to spend time with them, yet you did so much for them. So I want my child to know that I'm saying, please go to bed, because it's good for you to sleep, not because I have so much to do. We always have so much to do. So we may rebuke because we're stressed, we're rushing, we're overwhelmed, we're tired, but let's transmit the message to our children that it's good for you. You need to do this. And if I'm criticizing you for your benefit. And in this way, our children are actually going to listen. The challenge of raising children is very, very apparent in our generation. Anxiety gripped at Rivka's heart. Every single time she passed a non-Jewish house of worship, Esav moved vigorously. Every single time she passed a Jewish house of worship while pregnant, Yaakov moved. And she was so confused. She thought she was pregnant with one child. And she said, I don't know. She said, why am I like this? She didn't understand. She didn't understand why she would be given such a child. Now, when Yitzhak realized that the child he thought was this religious, pious person, he was indeed a wicked person, he trembled with anxiety. And then what did he do? Yitzhak blessed Esav. He blessed him anyway because kids want to know their parents love them. Their parents want to connect to them. Their parents haven't forgotten about them. We as parents also have a lot of anxiety, worries. How am I raising my child? Am I giving them everything that they need? And it's a good type of anxiety. However, we must understand in the end that if you have a child who is easy, who's calm and happy and obedient, you feel like, oh, I did everything right. You know what the truth is? That child is a gift. That child is a gift. If a child is difficult, overly sensitive, aggressive, loud, we may feel, oh, what did I do wrong? The truth is, if you did the best that you can, you really didn't do anything wrong. And the truth of the matter is, your children are gifts. You're doing the best you can. Now, you're not completely to blame for their success and their failures. Yes, a child is an outcome of their parents' upbringing. However, most of all, they are a gift. You know, myself as a parent and as a teacher, my very difficult students and my own children at different ages and stages presented difficulties, and I realized that the children who tried my patience, who made parenting difficult, actually made me grow the most as a parent, enhanced my patience, and students as well. So if your child is exactly what you hoped for, the sweet, easy kid, that's a gift. If your child is difficult, that's a gift in disguise. It's a gift because that child is going to give you these amazing midot, these character traits that you wish you had. You know, one of the most common challenges that I hear many mothers have is that their husbands are not on the same page with them on parenting. Since we can't tell our husband what to do and control him, the best thing we can do is we parent the best way that we can, and our child will actually adjust to our parenting style and our husband's parenting style. Our voice has to be one when we're making decisions. Our children need to hear one voice. We're discussing something, try to discuss separately so they don't hear mommy's side and daddy's side. So they hear that one voice, one decision. You're sticking together. And if your husband is parenting differently, don't worry about it. The child adjusts. And if your husband is willing to parent like you, he's only going to be willing when he sees the way you parent and that your child is reaping the benefits of this new parenting style. You know, our husbands need to make the decision themselves. So don't worry if you're not completely doing everything exactly the same way. Don't worry. The biggest blessing you can give your children is shalom bayit, peace in the home. When children are happy, they will thrive in order to navigate this world successfully. So I'm going to give you a practical tip to spend quality time with your children every single week doing the things that they love. Now, if you have a number of children and you have a tight schedule, maybe you want to group some children together, two children together, and it's mommy time. It's you and mommy time. And maybe you want to make it 5 minutes. So sometimes you may have a child who doesn't really want to spend time with you. Maybe they're going through becoming a teenager or just plain just don't want to do what you want to do. They want to spend time with their friends more. So what you do is just tell yourself 5 minutes. So maybe you're caressing their hair before they go to bed, just talking to them. Maybe you're just listening to them at the dinner table. Just eye contact. Just give yourself 5 minutes. So 5 minutes throughout the week adds to about half an hour. And that's great. If you can commit yourself to a certain time consistency, it speaks a loud message to your children. So I bless us all. May we have the merit to give our children what they truly need. quality time, attention, eye contact, a listening ear, a loving embrace, and of course, our heartfelt blessings. Leah Abramov, Being and Becoming.